They are adamant that what we saw the other night, the Joe Biden we saw, is not a one-off. In the last 6 months particularly, there has been a marked incidence of cognitive decline.
How anybody involved in that debate prep, I mean, didn't anybody see something was amiss?
The debate prep was supervised by Ron Klain. There was a fundraiser at which he started at the podium, and then he became very stiff, according to the people there, as if it were almost a kind of rigor mortis.
Journalist Carl Bernstein spoke to sources who are incredibly close to President Joe Biden and found that there have actually been serious concerns about Biden's mental and physical health for over a year now. Now, he even highlights a troubling incident Biden was involved in while giving a speech, and we're gonna get to the details of that incident in just a moment. You don't wanna miss it, and it just further reinforces something that we here at TYT have been concerned about for not just a year. We've been concerned about when Biden was running in 2020. Obviously, his health has declined further since then. But before we get to the heart of this interview with Bernstein, Cenk, why don't you jump in and tell me what you think about the overall revelations here?
Yeah, so first of all, I'm gonna say that I think that sociologists and anthropologists are going to have a field day with right now. And that it is going to be a bigger topic for them in their studies than in politics. The reason is Carl Bernstein is reporting something that was enormously obvious to anyone with eyes and ears up to a year ago. And we've proven that because we did a petition with you guys 9 months ago saying he's got to get out. He's falling apart at the seams. We can see it with our eyes at every time he does an event, right? Handshakes with invisible people, et cetera, et cetera. Now, a full year later, now people are like, did you know that he might be having mental difficulties? Of course we knew, of course. But what's amazing about it, and that's why I bring in the social psychologists, et cetera, they didn't though. In a sense, Anna, Biden has the Democratic Party. He's taken us as hostages. And like I would say 95% of the party until the debate had Stockholm Syndrome. Now we're down to 50% that have Stockholm Syndrome. And 50% still hanging on going, no, I don't see it. I think he's great, I think we're gonna win. I mean, even the people with Stockholm Syndrome are now beginning to go, and this is what I find most stunning. I'm beginning to think he might not win.
Oh my God.
Of course he's not gonna win.
Okay.
We've got that later in the program. He's now down in 3 non-swing states and about to lose 3 more, right? So this is an epic, we're talking about a landslide now. We're not talking about victory. In terms of these things, have they been hiding it? Of course they've been hiding him. And so not only are they hiding him from the public, but they're hiding the public from Joe Biden. And I think the #1 person responsible, without a doubt, is Jill Biden. Now more facts.
Thanks for watching. Our audience has helped build TYT into the media giant it is today. Together, we can accomplish anything. Support our work and join us at tyt.com/team. Yeah, I mean, look, if you want to make an argument that maybe rank and file Democrats were unaware of the extent to which Biden's mental capacity has declined, I'm not sure I'm even gonna buy that argument, but I'm at least somewhat receptive to it. What I am not receptive to is the notion that those closest to Biden were in the dark about what's been going on. In fact, that's what Bernstein is very clearly laying out in this interview on CNN. He spoke to those who they're not haters of Biden's. They're close Biden allies. They're people who love Biden, and they're now feeling that it's necessary to spill the tea, which honestly enrages me even more, because if they've been having concerns about Biden for over a year, maybe you make those concerns a little more public, a little more vocal, so voters have more of a say over who the overall Democratic nominee is. Now, with that in mind, let's see what Biden sources have been saying about his condition over the past 6 months.
According to the people you've been talking to, what are you hearing?
Well, these are people, several of them, who are very close to President Biden, who love him, have supported him, have been among them are some people who have raised a lot of money for him. And they are adamant that what we saw the other night, the Joe Biden we saw, is not a one-off, that there have been 15, 20 occasions in the last year and a half when the president has appeared somewhat as he did in that horror show. These people who have supported him, loved him, campaigned for him, see him often, say that in the last 6 months particularly, there has been a marked incidence of cognitive decline and physical infirmity.
What I wonder about
15 to 20 occasions over the last 6 months alone where those closest to Biden allies, individuals who have been campaigning on his behalf, noticed that he was displaying signs of significant cognitive decline.
Yeah, of course it's not a one-off. So this absurd, see, like this is now I'm debating with blue MAGA, just like red MAGA. Like, of course, if you lose 60 election court cases in a row, that you didn't win the election, right? If you're red MAGA. Now with blue MAGA, everybody has off nights. We saw Obama have an off night in a debate, etc. Right?
In 2012 against Mitt Romney.
But no one thought after that debate. I covered that debate. Nobody thought, oh, Obama's brain is gone. Obama couldn't finish a sentence. Obama freezes for no reason. What kind of insane conversation are we having? The guy's 81 and we all see his mental decline right in front of our eyes. And that's the thing, guys. They barely let us see it. But those insiders, they've been seeing it for over a year.
Correct.
And they've been hiding it from you. Remember the people who lied to you. Democratic leadership 100% lied to you. Tons of mainstream media totally lied to you. Remember what Mika said the morning after the debate? She said, fine, we're not gonna spin this one, but. I mean, what an admission that they spin everything, 100%, right?
Yeah.
So now to the people who did this and who think that they're helping Joe Biden, do you think this is helping his legacy?
Yeah, to create a situation in which ultimately the president of the United States would be publicly humiliated in the way that he's been publicly humiliated. So why don't we hear more from Bernstein on those who have provided cover for Biden's mental decline, thus lying to the American people about his true condition.
The debate prep was supervised by Ron Klain, who has been with President Biden for many years. And people I've talked to have all been to Ron Klain in the last year to say, we have a problem. We have a problem such as we saw the other night, that there have been numerous instances where the president has lost his train of thought, can't pick it up again. I think that what these folks are saying and have been saying for a while is, yes, he's great when we see him as we have tonight, but he also has these inexplicable moments that we're very concerned about. And you, Ron Klain, and the First Family, we need to talk about this. And they've been pushed back repeatedly whenever it's been brought up.
So Ron Klain's name comes up quite often in regard to who should be blamed for lying to the American people about Biden's true mental decline. And look, it is true that Ron Klain was the individual prepping Biden for the debate. So he has firsthand knowledge about the current state of Joe Biden. But at the same time, I also want to remind you all that Axios published that piece basically disclosing what the Biden defenders' game plan is. And one portion of that game plan is to put all the blame on Ron Klain, Anita Dunn, those close aides to Biden.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like passing the blame onto them. But honestly, I do blame them. I mean, you think Ron Klain didn't know that Biden was experiencing significant mental decline?
Yeah, no. So I want to be clear about this, and I have strong opinions about it. Number one, one of the reasons that Ron Klain gets blamed is because he's the only one willing to listen to other voices. So like the other people inside Biden's circle won't listen to anybody. Right? So since Ron Klain has an open door, people can talk to him and they think, well, Ron Klain's not taking action, so it must be his fault. No, he's the one that's actually listening to you. Whereas the rest of them couldn't care less. So when I see Ron Klain being thrown under the bus like this, I think it's exactly wrong. It's the opposite of what's happening.
But you don't think Ron Klain was aware?
No, I think everyone's responsible. Ron Klain's in his inner circle. There's reports saying, oh, it's tough to talk to Biden. He won't listen to anyone and he's very surly, etc. well, put your big boy pants on and go do your job.
This is insane. It really is. Like, the level of cowardice demonstrated by the Democratic advisors surrounding Biden is just mind-numbing. It is so depressing.
And I'll tell you a second thing that is clear. Axios, Politico, New York Times, NBC News all talked about it this weekend. And I knew that there would be a wave to try to quell that and then get past it and pretend it never happened. No, the person making the decisions is Dr. Jill Biden. There is no question about it. And when you see other names in the press, that's partly her team. Her advisor is now the #1 advisor to Biden. There's 2 top advisors, and one of them is the First Lady's top assistant, right? And they say those 2 basically have Biden in a headlock. So there's a couple of problems with that. Number one, they're now leaking against the other advisors, right? And they're saying, oh yeah, Ron Klain, I don't know, this guy, that guy, but definitely not Jill Biden. Don't look at the First Lady, who's obviously in charge, right?
And by the way, it was reported today, also Hunter Biden, who sometimes would visit, his father in the White House, but now is joining all the White House meetings, including the meeting with Biden that preceded the speech he gave in response to the Supreme Court ruling on presidential immunity.
Yeah, and so in fact, some Democrats now saying, wait, what's Hunter Biden doing in the meetings?
Right.
I mean, that's what I said from the first day. Like, why is the modern artist involved in the most important political decision of our lifetimes, right? So now people are starting to get mad about that. But even that's a distraction. It's definitely the First Lady that's making the decisions. But think about this, and a couple of members made some really good points. First of all, just on this illness, and then I'm gonna get to the great political point. Kyoko506, who's a YouTube member for Young Turks, said, my mom has been battling Alzheimer's for years. I know mental decline when I see it, and sorry, but Biden is done, at least for the job he's applying for. Look, and then Ben Mag was texted this, I don't know if I'm supposed to out him or not, but he said, would you trust Biden to drive your car?
No, I mean, come on.
Imagine your kids are inside. Imagine they don't have seatbelts. You would never trust Biden,
He's
right?
the president right now.
And he's the president of the United States, the most important job, there's no question about it. And by the way, thank you for participating in the show. Hit the join button below to become a Young Turks member. I wanna show you an old clip that I keep referring to. Then I'm gonna go to the great political point by another member. So this is from a long time ago. This is when we were like, what the hell's going on? And everybody's like, oh, it's no big deal. Now, you see this thing that Biden did after giving a speech, and you tell me if you thought it was a big deal or not.
God bless you all.
He's totally lost.
Oh my God.
That was like a year ago.
Yep.
And they're pretending that they didn't know, please. So now let's go to one of our members on tyt.com. Sloths Are My Spirit Animal, funny title, says, at what point do we get to call a wellness check? Just yesterday, Biden said we're not a country of kings. Well, we also can't be a country of emperors without clothes either. And the reason why I like that is that we literally need a wellness check on the president, because the First Lady and the other advisors, they're not just keeping the public from the Biden from the public, but like I said earlier, Biden might not have any idea what's going on. He's so tightly cloistered in that little group. Remember, he's not seeing all the things that we're seeing. He's only seeing very carefully manufactured facts that are brought in front of him. In fact, they're bringing him polls where he's winning. He has no idea. He has no idea what's going on. So he doesn't have any interactions with the outside world. And so he might think that, he knows that things are bad, obviously, right? But he might not have any idea how bad they are. He's down to 36% approval. He's lost 12 points in New Hampshire, on and on and on.
He is being used, exploited, and misled by individuals who insist on him continuing to run for re-election, not because they think it's the best option for the country or the best outcome for the election, but because their own personal benefits are on the line. Either their jobs as advisors to the president, or in the case of Hunter Biden and Jill Biden, I mean, I'm sure Jill Biden really enjoyed being on the cover of glossy magazines.
Oh, no question. I don't care if you're in the business of trying to protect the feelings of the powerful. I am not in that business. Jill Biden is loving the power that she has. It's super obvious, and she doesn't want to let go of the power. Because look, the reason I read that comment from our member, and I've said it in the past, and we've gotten so many comments saying the same thing. If you've had a loved one going through this, you would never subject them to this. You have to be some sort of power-hungry Gollum to go, no, we're gonna stay in power. I don't care if he's humiliated. March him back out there, right? Come on, that was a humiliation. So everybody warned Ron Klain and everyone else involved, not everybody, but a lot of people did a long time ago, saying, guys, if you love Joe Biden, you're gonna destroy his legacy and his reputation. He had beaten Trump. He had a decent economy, lowest unemployment. He had gotten bills passed. They would have built statues of him. Now he's going to be driven from the party with pitchforks, or he's gonna capsize the entire party with him. They're now running ads with Biden attached to congressional Democrats.
It's disastrous.
Bye-bye, there goes Congress.
And by the way, repeating the line that Biden is the best Democratic candidate to beat Trump trashes the entirety of the Democratic Party. That does not look good for other Democratic politicians, and it is shocking to me that more Democratic politicians haven't come forward to push back against these ridiculous narratives. Now, finally, I want to go to what we promised with Bernstein highlighting a particular episode involving Joe Biden that is concerning to say the least. Let's take a look.
There was a fundraiser at which he started at the podium, and then he became very stiff, according to the people there, as if it were almost a kind of rigor mortis.
This was reported allegedly in June of 2020.
This was June of, this was a year ago almost exactly, at the old Four Seasons restaurant on Park Avenue. And he became very stiff, and a chair had to be brought for him to do the latter part of the event.
Yeah, that is insane, and that happened a year ago. But despite all of this new information that Americans are reading about, watching, you have Biden's campaign chair, Jen O'Malley Dillion, telling members of the campaign's National Finance Committee, the donors, there's as many as 500 donors attending this virtual meeting, and she's essentially saying, you guys have nothing to worry about, okay? Biden's totally healthy, okay? He has absolutely no intention of dropping out of the race. I'm gonna quote her right now. He's probably in better health than most of us, she said.
Come on.
Yeah.
You look ridiculous. You should never be hired again in Democratic politics on that statement alone. So guys, this is the other important part. I can't believe this is what's happened. We have a topsy-turvy world now where the only people that might be able to rescue us are the donors. Oh my God, we're in such a sorry state because the donors don't like to waste money. They like return on investment. And so now they all see the handwriting on the wall, they're gonna lose. Yep. So there's some dead enders who are still trying to raise money for him. But raising money for this guy is gonna get super difficult. And remember who the worst of the worst are, everybody on his campaign. Because they all have an incentive to make sure that he keeps going. Because the minute they have a new candidate, they're all fired. They're not, the new candidate will pick an entirely different campaign team. So everybody on Biden's campaign is desperately holding on, lying to you 24/7. Yep. He's fine. No, I want this job. It pays really well. It makes I get a lot of status and power in Washington. He's fine. Nonsense. Serial pathological liars. And last thing, they took a giant risk on our behalf. On all of our behalf.
Of course, yeah. Who cares about us?
They knew. They deal with him every day. Remember the story about how he can only function between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. They've seen him before 10 a.m. They've seen him after 4 p.m. They've seen it for a year, and they said, yes, so what? It's gonna help me, my political career. Put the guy back out there. Who cares if he gets humiliated? Put the old man back out there. We're gonna keep power, and we're gonna keep our salaries, right? And they betrayed us all and took this giant risk on our behalf. And now Trump is on the precipice of winning Congress and a landslide victory that would give him a mandate to destroy this government. And that's now Joe Biden's legacy. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.